Hey, Sahil. Jason here in Atlanta. I'm going to come back here and fire up my machine, so I thought I'd run through a really quick startup procedure with you. So at the end of every night, I power everything down, I close my drain valve in the back of the machine, I turn my water off, I throw my main disconnect. So I'm going to reverse all that and then start booting it up. I've already turned on my air compressor in the back, and I've already tossed my drain lines out the back door. So first things first, I'm going to come over here and throw my main disconnect for my pump, and I'm going to turn my water valve on. I'm going to come over here to my pump, turn my cabinet on, and I'm going to give that PLC a few minutes to boot up. So while that's doing that, I usually walk around to the back of the machine, open up my drain valve for the tank. Good. And then I'll come up and I'll power up the gantry. So I need to turn on both the controller and my electrical cabinet. It doesn't matter really which one you do first, but I am gonna energize my cabinet. I can tell that my cabinet is off right now, both by looking at the position of the switch, and then also that my and-on light on my bulk feed hopper is off. So when I throw this on, you'll see my and-on light tick on, and that's a good indication that my my electrical cabinet is energized. Next thing, I'm going to boot up my controller. Obviously mine's a little bit different than your Move controller, but same principle applies. So give this a second here. Awesome. All right, so I've got an energized cabinet. I've got a controller that's booted up. I am going to launch a Kulu. Difference is you will be launching Move, but again, same principle. You need to launch the controller software. It's going to take a minute to think here. Cool. All right, so the very first thing that I'm going to need to do, whether it's a Kulu or a Move, is the machine is going to boot up in a software e-stop state. If somebody had pushed a hardware e-stop or bumped it when the machine was done, it will tell me that I have a hardware e-stop first. So if you have a hardware e-stop alarm, the first thing you're going to need to do is clear that. The very next thing is you're going to need to reset and clear the software e-stop. And then you're going to have to home your machine. So I'm going to say home. I'm going to say home. So usually at the end of the day, I park my cutting head somewhere up near the home position, so it doesn't take so long to home. Last night I didn't do that for whatever reason, so this is going to take a little bit longer because it's going to just slowly creep and seek each of the axes. So while that's sitting there going through its homing routine, I'm going to go back over to the pump and enable remote control. So right now, as it sits, I cannot turn the pump on from the controller. I can only turn the pump on locally. So to enable remote control, if I look here on my controller PLC, it's going to show me that it says push controls on. So I'm going to want to switch my key switch to local control. So the arrow into the PLC means local control. The arrow pointing out of this little square, which is the PLC, means I'm doing remote control. So I switch it to local. This button is going to enable remote control. And after I pushed it, you can see that the push control on alarm is no longer flashing. So since I've enabled remote control, I'm going to flip this key switch back to remote control. So I've got white light, I've got blue light. That means now I can turn my pump on and off from the controller. If I switch it back, that means, I can turn my pump on and off from the PLC. So I want to turn my pump on from the controller, so we're going to leave it in that run mode. So in the meantime, our machine is homed, which is going to be in the front left corner with the Z all the way up. And actually, we're not quite done yet. It's still slowly creeping forward. Sometimes you'll hear the ball screw squeak just a little bit. That's normal as long as the machine's not shuddering violently. So my controller is going to tell me we home successfully and all of my cut actions are enabled. So I'm currently at 000. If I move away, I should be good here. So there you go. Actually, I think that's it. So that is our general startup procedure. We turned our air, power, water on. We booted up our pump. We turned our electrical cabinet and our controller on. We homed our machine. And then we enabled remote control on the pump. So now, whether you're in a Kulu or Move, if I log in, I can load a part program. If I go to my software controls, I can move around. And more importantly, since I enabled remote control, I can turn my pump on from the control system. Once I do all that, I can run a program. So there you go. There's your general startup procedure. Shutdown is just reverse. I usually park my head somewhere in this area, shut down my controller, shut down my electrical cabinet, turn off the pump, and then turn off my water, my electric, and my air supply. Thanks for watching.